It was the kind of Tuesday where the air felt like it had weight thick enough to slice, heavy enough to make you move slow. I had the day off finally. No emails, no emergencies, no meetings. Just sunshine, still water, and silence. I was floating on my inflatable flamingo in the backyard pool of my newly purchased home in Glade, a sleepy town tucked between two state highways and a whole lot of farmland. I'd moved here a few months back, hoping for a fresh start. After spending years working my way up through law enforcement in the city, I'd taken the job as the new police chief here. But today wasn't about duty. Today was about iced tea, sun, and letting my thoughts drift like the clouds overhead. Until I heard it. Excuse me, sir." My eyes cracked open, squinting into the sunlight. There they were, two silhouettes standing at the edge of my backyard like bad weather rolling in. A woman and a man, both wearing expressions that screamed righteous indignation. The woman was dressed in a pastel sweater draped across her shoulders like it was still the 90s. Her lips were pursed, arms crossed, standing like the queen of the HOA. The man next to her looked like a gym membership personified, buzzcut, tank top, arms the size of hams. He flexed unintentionally, or maybe too intentionally, while glancing around like he owned the place. "You can help by getting out of that pool and explaining yourself," the woman snapped. I wiped water from my face and tried to keep my tone neutral. "And you are?" "I'm Linda Hargrave. This is my husband, Ron. We've had reports of suspicious activity on this property." I blinked. "Suspicious like what?" "You," Ron added, stepping forward. "You're not from around here. And this neighborhood has standards." I couldn't help it. I laughed, short and low. "I live here. Bought the place a couple months ago." Linda's nose wrinkled. "Deed or no deed, you're making people uncomfortable. You don't exactly blend in." Ah, there it was. The not one of us without saying it out loud. "I'm sorry you feel that way," I said, climbing out of the pool and grabbing a towel. "But I assure you I belong here." She shook her head. "This is a family neighborhood, not a frat house with inflatable flamingos. I'm a single homeowner, not hosting a kegger." Ron puffed up beside her. "Linda says you've been giving people a weird vibe." "We're watching out for the community." I wrapped the towel around my waist and stared at them. "Well, let me be perfectly clear, you're on my property. Uninvited." Linda smiled, the kind of smug curve that made my stomach twist. "Ron's in training to be a police officer. He knows how to handle situations like this." I looked at Ron. He tried to stare me down, but there was hesitation in his posture. "You have 5 minutes to pack up and leave," he said, voice a little too high. "Or I'm calling the sheriff." Now that made me grin. "The sheriff?" I asked. He nodded, confident. "Yep. I'll have you out of here before lunch." "Well then," I said calmly, "before you make that call, maybe you should know who I am." Ron didn't flinch, but Linda looked uncertain for the first time. I turned and walked back into the house, leaving wet footprints behind me. I didn't run. I didn't even close the door hard. I just moved like a man with time on his side. Upstairs, I changed into the suit I'd laid out for an upcoming town hall meeting, dark navy, tailored, clean. I grabbed my badge and slid it into the inner pocket of my blazer. Then I grabbed the black leather briefcase I'd used since my academy graduation. The one that meant business. When I stepped back outside, they were still standing there, squinting and whispering to each other. I walked toward them with the same calm I'd use approaching a suspect with a bad story and a worse alibi. I opened the briefcase slowly, then lifted my badge into the sunlight. "I'm Chief Elijah Brooks," I said, letting the weight of the title land heavy in the air. "And you two are under arrest for trespassing and harassment." Linda's face drained of color. Ron's jaw fell open. For a moment, they looked like mannequins frozen mid-drama. "Chief," Linda finally choked out. "But Ron is training to be an officer." "That's wonderful," I said dryly. "Unfortunately, this isn't a ride-along. And impersonating authority is a bad first step." She sputtered. "He doesn't even have a badge yet." "Well," I said, clipping mine to my belt, "I do. And I'm exercising that authority right now." I gestured toward the driveway where my sleek black Tesla gleamed in the sun like a badge of its own. "Let's go," I said. "We're headed downtown." Ron looked at her. She looked at him. Then they followed me, the bravado stripped off like paint in a pressure wash. The Glade Police Department wasn't flashy. It looked like someone had built it in the 70s and forgot to update anything but the printer. Still, it was home base. And when I walked through the double glass doors with those two in tow, the entire front desk crew looked up. Sergeant Darrell Knox was sitting behind the front counter with his reading glasses halfway down his nose. His salt and pepper mustache twitched when he saw us. Chief, he said, standing. What in the world? Bringing these two in, I said simply. Trespassing and harassment. He looked from me to Linda and Ron, then back again. On who? Me, I replied. The pause was golden. Then the station burst into barely contained laughter. Even Cassidy, the dispatcher with a permanent scowl and coffee-stained hoodie, cracked a smile. All right, I said, raising my hands. Let's focus. Darrell, can you take their statements? I'll explain more later. He nodded, grinning like a kid at Christmas. Yes, sir. I went to my office, see a small room overlooking Main Street with a desk that still smelled faintly like the last chief's aftershave, and sat down, breathing deep. An hour later, Darrell knocked. I've got their statements, he said, handing me the files. Linda's was a mess of run-on sentences about neighborhood aesthetics and community integrity. Ron's was neater, though full of misguided conviction. He claimed they were acting in the best interest of the town by checking in on a property that seemed out of place. I leaned back. Thoughts? Darrell shrugged. Technically, they broke the law. Trespassing's clear. Harassment's a stretch, but provable. Agreed, I said. But I want this to send a message. He nodded slowly. You thinking fines? Community service? Both, I said. Big fines. And I want them picking up trash in bright orange vests that say exactly why. Darrell grinned. You're gonna be real popular after this. Oh, I know. The judge, an old friend from academy days named Rebecca, didn't even blink when I told her what happened. She handed down the sentence herself. $1,500 each in fines. 100 hours of community service. And custom vests that read, I trespassed and harassed a police chief. The town loved it. The local diner had a chalkboard special called the Karen Combo, hot and salty. People at the grocery store stopped me to laugh, clap, or just shake my hand. At the town council meeting, even the mayor pulled me aside. Elijah, he said, you've been here a month and already cleaned up more nonsense than my last 3 chiefs combined. Just doing my job, I told him. Linda and Ron avoided me after that. If I passed them on the sidewalk, they looked down. If we crossed paths at the gas station, they shuffled away fast. But I didn't taunt them. I didn't have to. One morning, I was walking past the town square when I saw them. Bright orange vests. Trash grabbers in hand. I walked over, hands in my pockets. Morning, I said. Ron grunted. Linda glared. Friendly reminder, I said, smiling, respect your neighbors, follow the law, and you won't end up picking gum wrappers off the highway. I winked and walked away. A week later, I got a call from the Regional Police Academy. Ron Hargrave, the registrar asked. Dropped out this morning. Didn't give a reason, but we figured you'd want to know. I hung up and smiled. Maybe he wasn't cut out for the badge after all. Harmony Glade settled into a routine after that. I threw myself into the job, updated the department's training protocols, established a youth outreach program, and started monthly town safety briefings. Every so often, someone would bring up the Karen incident at the barbershop or during the 4th of July parade. It became part of town lore. And me? I kept swimming, but I always kept my badge close, just in case another self-deputized community protector showed up unannounced. Because if life had taught me anything, it was this. You never know what kind of crazy will find its way into your backyard. But if you stay calm, keep your sense of humor, and carry a badge with purpose, not pride, you'll come out just fine.